Cody Stark is standing by with our special guest.
Marty Sklar, thank you very much for joining us, and thank you for writing this book, because I've been going through this, and okay, let's start with one spot. Epcot Center, there's a thing called the blank page, and I was reading that part of your book, and it gave me heart palpitations. So basically, they said, it's called Epcot, now you make it up, right?
Yeah, it gave me heart palpitations, too. But it was a great opportunity because Walt Disney World already existed and was popular. But Walt had an idea for a community that he called Epcot, Experimental Prototype Community of Tomorrow. And we had to figure out how to turn that into a park. And that was the trick.
And not only were you making it into a park, but you guys were trying to predict what the future was going to be as well, right?
Absolutely, and we went around and talked to many, many people and showed some examples. That one of my favorite is still there, the Land Pavilion, where we're actually growing food and serving it to people in the restaurant.
It's amazing. It's amazing. Okay, so you're at UCLA, college student. You get this crazy job. Did you believe them at first? Because this job seemed amazing to me. I mean, especially you're in college.
Well, it was hard for me to understand why they would call somebody who had just finished his junior year and was about to be the editor of the Daily Bruin student newspaper. But I went in for the interview, and they hired me to do this. And I went to work a month before Disneyland opened in 1955. And 2 weeks after I went to work, I had to present the concept for this newspaper to the Walt Disney. Oh. And I was 21 years old and scared as hell.
I bet. How did he receive it? What did he think? He liked your ideas?
When I look back at it now, I realize it was a turning point in my career, because if he didn't like it, they'd get some PR pro to do this thing. And instead, he said, yeah, that's good, and I got the job. That
is amazing, Marty. Let's talk about just the terminology, because if you think about when you go to Disney, you're not a customer, you're a guest. These aren't rides, these are attractions. You helped come up with all that, right?
Yeah, there was a man by the name of Van France who was a really fabulous trainer, and he did a lot of that too. But one of the things that I did was I used to go out to the main gate and I'd listen to what the guests were asking, and they'd say, no, we want to go on the Mark Twain and the Jungle Cruise and the Flight to the Moon, but we don't want to go on any of the rides. And you'd sit back and say, what are they talking about, you know? And we finally figured out that the rides were equated to the shoot-the-chutes and the whips and that existed in the old amusement parks. And Walt was doing stories. And stories had a whole different context. So we created a whole language, experiences, adventures, attractions, and that became the language of Disneyland. That
is unbelievable. And it's those details that really set what you guys did apart. The attention to detail that you guys were doing was amazing, absolutely amazing.
Well, I think if you go through any of the Disney parks, and there are 11 of them now that I talk about in my book, Dream It and Do It, I think if you go through any of them, you see that the details really of storytelling really make up the experience.
Now, there's a really difficult part in this book where you were they came to you and said, Walt has passed away. We need you to write something up. What was that like, trying to encapsulate this great man and this history of all these things he's done? How hard was that?
Well, I was very upset about that because they didn't tell me that they hadn't written anything. So Walt passed away, and I was paged to come to my boss's office, and he said, you're going to write Roy Disney's statement. Go in the other room, and you have an hour. And I said, oh my gosh, nobody, I mean, this man, they knew he was dying, and they hadn't prepared anything. So actually, I'm quite proud of what I did right.
It was beautiful. It really was beautiful.
Well,
it really was beautiful. This book, unbelievable. I cannot recommend this more. Anyway, now you're going to be here in town. You're doing a book signing and everything, right?
I'm doing a book signing at Stage 9, Saturday from noon to 4. And I hope everybody will come out because I love meeting people and signing their books.
Awesome. I love meeting you. Thanks you very much, sir. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Cody.
Seriously. Gold inside this book. Every page you're like, what? I didn't even get to the part about him meeting John Wooden.
John Wooden, the coach.
John Wooden, too.
Yeah, that's amazing. Thanks, of course, we already talked about how Jason Schwartzman, the actor, was completely just excited about the concept of this book, and he wants to buy it as well. We got to find a way to get him a copy. He's in love with it.
Got to get him a copy.
Right? Awesome. Thank you so much,
Fantastic,
sir.
Marty.
And thank you so much, Cody. 8:51 here.